that event because it was entitled Poetry Reading in Beeston, and I was like, oh, I don't do poetry. I mean, I love listening to it, but I don't write it. But I'm a novelist, and this is my novel, The Haunted, which came out last week. It's a horror story, or at least that's what the publishers say. It's kind of more of a ghost story, I think, but that's how they're selling it. And yes, it's interesting because it's a horror story, but it was inspired by my honeymoon. I am still married, but that happened about 5 years ago, almost, in fact, in about a week's time. And because it was November, we decided to go to Scotland and go camping, as you do, for a romantic getaway. And we did a really, really mad thing. My husband wanted to go out and camp in a bothy, which is like a kind of shepherd's hut that you get in Scotland, where you can go and stay if you're walking and stuff. And I said, yeah, fine, I'll do it. Let's give everything a go. So we set out about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And the problem was we'd seriously underestimated how far away it was. So we were kind of walking along, we're like, we're not there yet. And then it went dark. And like, I don't know if anyone's ever been in the middle of the Highlands, and when it goes dark, it went very dark indeed. And so we carried on, tried to get to the bothy. It had been raining a lot, it was November, we were mad because we were in Scotland. And when we got to where the bothy was, there was a burn and it was very flooded in spate, and we couldn't get across, so we never got to the bothy. And we had to turn back and walk all the way in the dark with a torch that began to run out of battery. So it's all a bit hairy, but it's a bonding experience. And I got a novel out of it, so it's all right in the end. So yeah, what I did to the couple in this book is I had them get to the bothy, and that was really when things got scary. So yes, I'm going to read you a bit. They're in the bothy, they're trapped there. The door banged shut and woke Susie with a start. The stove was still burning, casting a yellow glow across the room. Susie's vision was blurred from sleep. She could see Martin, a black shape in the warm light, and she watched as his shadowy presence made its way across the room like a spider in a nightmare. He removed clothes noisily, then noticed the gas stove, puffing and cursing about it being on. She considered pretending to be asleep, then decided to lie instead. I was still awake, she mumbled. It wasn't dangerous. Bloody wasteful though, he snapped back. Honestly, Sue, I really think we should both be more careful with our resources under the current circumstances. It was a comment she could imagine directed at a Year 11 class, and the voice he used was one she knew he'd honed over the years as a teacher. She resented being on the end of it, but she longed for his soft, warm shape beside her on the floor. The longing silenced her. She closed her eyes and said nothing, listening to the sound of Martin undressing. His breathing was a little heavy, and every so often he coughed, a sound she knew so well and would have recognised a mile away. Then Martin was beside her, curling up and moulding to her shape, the earlier conflicts and even the annoyance over the stove forgotten. She opened her eyes and sighed, then watched him lean over her to extinguish the flame. Strangely, she couldn't smell the smoke on him. She wondered if she was coming down with a cold. The light faded and then was snuffed out entirely. Just in the last moment of illumination, though, Susie saw something that made her sit straight up and let out a sharp gasp. "What's wrong?" Martin said, also sitting up. "At the window." Her voice was shaking and it trailed off into a shiver she could not control. "There's a man." "What do you mean, a man? I've been stomping around for hours outside and I can tell you there's no one out there." Martin's voice was firm but kind. "But I saw him when you were gone. I thought it was you smoking again. I thought you'd been lying about giving up." "Stopping," Martin said. "It's stopping smoking." Martin was sold on a particular self-help guru and kept going on about this distinction. To Susie, it felt like splitting hairs, but her inability to take it on board had clearly frustrated him. He was breathing hard, as if in pain. "Wait a minute," he said. "Why do you think I'd lie about it?" The dark was pure, and Susie's eye had not adjusted to it. She sighed. "Are you serious? Did you not hear what I just said?" I saw a man with my own 2 eyes smoking outside, and if he was there still when the light went out, I thought it was you, but it wasn't, which means it's someone else. Someone who's just hanging around here with no reason or shelter. Someone strange.